A Harvard study tracked relationships for over 85 years, and they found something that most people still refuse to believe. The women who reported the highest levels of satisfaction in their relationships weren't married to the richest men, the most attractive men, or even the most successful men. They were with men who consistently did 3 specific things. And here's the part that might sting a little. Most men have absolutely no idea what those 3 things are. Even worse, some men think they're already doing them, and they're not even close. So if you've ever wondered why she pulled away, why she stopped smiling, why the spark just disappeared one day without a warning, you're about to understand everything in the next few minutes. Now, before I reveal these 3 things, let me say something that might sound controversial. Women are not complicated. I know. That sentence alone probably made half of you pause. Because everywhere you look, there's some article, some podcast, some guy in a leather chair telling the world that women are these mysterious, impossible-to-please creatures who change their minds every 5 minutes and speak in emotional hieroglyphics. And honestly, that narrative is lazy. It's the relationship equivalent of saying math is hard instead of actually opening the textbook. Here's the truth from someone who is a woman and has spent years studying what actually makes relationships work. Women don't need 50 things to feel satisfied. They don't need a mansion, a six-pack, or a man who cries during every sunset. They need 3 things. Just 3. But those 3 things need to be real. They need to be consistent. And they need to come from a place of genuine intention, not performance. And I'll be honest with you. The third one on this list is the one that breaks the most relationships. It's the one that men overlook the most, and it's the one that women silently keep score on without ever saying a word. When it's missing, she doesn't yell. She doesn't argue. She just slowly starts to emotionally check out, and by the time he notices, she's already gone. Not physically, but emotionally, and that's worse. So stay with me through this entire video because by the end, you'll understand something about women that most people spend decades figuring out the hard way. The first thing a woman needs to be truly satisfied is emotional safety. And no, I'm not talking about bubble wrap and safe spaces. I'm talking about something much more foundational than that. Emotional safety means she can say what she actually feels without being punished for it. She can express frustration without being called dramatic. She can cry without being told she's overreacting. She can bring up something that bothered her without it turning into a 3-hour argument where somehow she ends up apologizing for having feelings in the first place. Let me put it this way. There was a study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology that found that the #1 predictor of relationship satisfaction for women wasn't physical attraction, wasn't financial stability, wasn't even shared interests. It was whether or not they felt emotionally safe with their partner. Women who reported high emotional safety were 62% more likely to describe their relationship as deeply fulfilling. That's not a small number. That's a landslide. And here's where it gets interesting. Most men think they provide emotional safety because they don't yell. But emotional safety isn't just the absence of aggression. It's the presence of receptiveness. There's a massive difference between a man who doesn't scream at you and a man who actually makes you feel heard. Let me give you a real scenario. She comes home after a terrible day at work. Her boss embarrassed her in front of the whole team. She's frustrated, she's tired, and she just wants to vent. She starts talking about it, and he immediately jumps into fix-it mode. Well, you should have said this? Why didn't you just do that? You're letting them walk all over you. Now, is he wrong? Maybe not. But is he helpful? Absolutely not. Because in that moment, she didn't come to him for a strategy session. She came to him because she needed to feel like someone was on her side. She needed him to say, "That sounds awful. I'm sorry that happened to you." That's it. That's the whole assignment. Dr. John Gottman, who has studied over 40,000 couples, calls this turning toward your partner. When she shares something emotional and he responds with empathy instead of logic, he's turning toward her. When he dismisses, minimizes, or immediately tries to solve, he's turning away. And Gottman's research shows that couples who consistently turn toward each other have an 86% chance of staying together. Couples who turn away? They sit at around 33%. Those numbers are brutal. So emotional safety isn't soft. It isn't weakness. It's actually the strongest foundation a relationship can have. Because when a woman feels emotionally safe, she opens up. She becomes more affectionate, more loving, more generous with her energy. She stops guarding herself. She stops testing. She stops keeping one foot out the door. She fully commits. And that's when the relationship becomes something extraordinary. But when emotional safety is absent, she builds walls. And she builds them quietly, brick by brick, conversation by conversation, until one day he looks at her and wonders why she feels so far away, not realizing that he handed her the bricks himself. The second thing a woman needs to be satisfied is consistent effort. And I want to emphasize the word consistent because that's where most men fumble. Here's what typically happens. In the beginning of a relationship, he's incredible. He plans dates. He sends good morning texts. He asks about her day and actually listens to the answer. He remembers little things she mentioned in passing and surprises her with them. He's present. He's attentive. He's fully locked in. And she falls for that version of him? Then 6 months go by. A year. 2 years. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, the effort fades. The good morning texts become occasional. The dates become Netflix and whatever's in the fridge. The compliments dry up. The curiosity about her inner world evaporates. And when she brings it up, when she says, "You don't do those things anymore," he says the 5 words that have probably ended more relationships than infidelity. That's just the honeymoon phase. No, it is not. The honeymoon phase is a convenient excuse for laziness. I said what I said. A study from the National Bureau of Economic Research found that relationship satisfaction doesn't decline because of time. It declines because of decreased intentional behavior. In other words, it's not that love expires, it's that effort does. The couples who maintained high satisfaction after 10, 20, even 30 years together were the ones who never stopped dating each other. They never stopped being curious about each other. They never assumed that just because she stayed, she was satisfied. And this is the trap that so many men fall into. They confuse her presence with her contentment. Just because she's still there doesn't mean she's still happy. She might be staying out of loyalty, out of hope, out of obligation, or out of fear of starting over. But staying is not the same as thriving. And a woman who is staying but not thriving is a woman who is slowly suffocating. Consistent effort doesn't mean grand gestures every week. Nobody's asking for helicopter rides and Michelin-star dinners every Tuesday. It means small, intentional acts of love on a regular basis. It means still holding her hand in public after 5 years. It means asking her about the book she's reading or the show she's watching and actually caring about the answer. It means looking at her across the room and telling her she looks beautiful, not because it's Valentine's Day, but because it's a random Wednesday and you still notice her. There's a quote from a therapist I follow. She said, "Women don't leave men who try. They leave men who stopped trying and didn't even notice." That hit differently because it's painfully accurate. And here's something men need to understand. When a woman asks for more effort, she's not nagging. She's fighting for the relationship. She's telling you in clear language what she needs to stay. The nagging is the last stage before silence. And silence from a woman who used to ask for more? That's not peace. That's resignation. That's her accepting that this is all she's going to get. And the moment she accepts that, the countdown begins. So if you're watching this and you recognize yourself in any of this, if you realize that you've gotten comfortable, that you've let the effort slide, the good news is it's not too late. But the window is smaller than you think. Because a woman can only ask so many times before she stops asking altogether. And once she stops asking, she starts planning, not out of spite, out of self-preservation. Now we've arrived at the third thing, and I told you at the beginning that this one is the silent killer. This is the one that ends relationships without a single argument, without a single fight, without any dramatic moment at all. It just erodes things slowly, like water wearing down stone. The third thing a woman needs to be satisfied is to feel truly seen, not looked at. Seen. There's a world of difference between those two things. Being looked at is surface level. It's noticing her dress, her hair, her body. And yes, those things matter. A woman wants to feel physically desired, but being seen goes so much further than that. Being seen means he understands who she is beneath the surface. He knows what makes her anxious at 2 a.m. He knows which smile is real and which one she wears for everyone else. He knows when she says, "I'm fine," and actually means it versus when she says, "I'm fine," and is barely holding it together. Being seen means he pays attention to the details that nobody else notices. The way her voice changes when she's excited about something, the way she goes quiet when something is weighing on her, the things that light her up and the things that shut her down. It's knowing her, not just being with her. Dr. Sue Johnson, the creator of emotionally focused therapy, has written extensively about what she calls the attachment bond. She says that the deepest human need, even deeper than the need for physical safety, is the need to feel that someone truly knows you and still chooses you. Not a curated version of you. Not the highlight reel. The real, messy, complicated, full version of you. And for women, this need is often amplified because society has spent centuries telling women to perform. Perform beauty, perform happiness, perform competence, perform ease. So when a woman finds someone who sees past the performance, who sees her, the actual her, it's not just attractive, it's transformative. And here's the data to back this up. A study from the University of Virginia found that individuals who felt known by their partners reported 74% higher relationship satisfaction than those who simply felt loved. Think about that for a second. You can love someone and still make them feel invisible. You can say, "I love you" every single day, and she can still feel completely unseen. Because love without knowledge is shallow. It's generic. It's the relationship equivalent of a participation trophy. Now let me give you a real-world example. She mentions casually that her favorite childhood memory was making pancakes with her grandmother on Sunday mornings. It's a small detail. She said it once, maybe over dinner, maybe in the car. 3 weeks later, he wakes up early on a Sunday and makes pancakes. Not because she asked, not because it was a special occasion, but because he remembered, because he listened, because that small detail mattered to him because she matters to him. That moment right there, that Sunday morning with flour on the counter and no fanfare, is worth more than 100 expensive gifts. Because it says, "I see you, I hear you, I hold on to the things that matter to you because you matter to me." And that's what most men miss. They think satisfaction comes from big moments, the proposal, the vacation, the surprise party, but women keep score in small moments. The tiny interactions that happen when nobody's watching, the way he remembers her coffee order, the way he checks in on her when he knows she had a stressful meeting, the way he notices when she changes something subtle about her appearance and actually says something. Those small moments accumulate. They stack on top of each other, day after day, month after month, until they form something unshakable. An emotional bank account that is so full that when hard times come, and they always come, there's enough trust, enough goodness, enough history of being seen to weather anything. But when those small moments are absent, the account runs dry. And a woman running on an empty emotional bank account doesn't have the energy to fight anymore. She doesn't have the motivation to explain what she needs for the 100th time. She just gets quiet. She smiles less. She stops sharing. And eventually, she stops caring. Not because she wanted to, but because she had nothing left. So let's bring it all together. 3 things: emotional safety, consistent effort, and feeling truly seen. That's it. That's the entire blueprint. It's not complicated. It's not mysterious. It's not hidden behind some secret code that only women understand. It's 3 things that require one fundamental ingredient: genuine attention. And here's what's beautiful about this. These 3 things cost nothing. $0, no subscription fee, no premium membership. They just require a man who decides every single day that she's worth paying attention to, that her emotional world matters, that her presence in his life isn't something to get used to, but something to actively appreciate. A woman who has all 3 of these things isn't just satisfied. She's radiant. She's loyal in a way that goes beyond obligation. She's affectionate. She's supportive. She's all in. Because she has no reason to look elsewhere when everything she needs is standing right in front of her. And for the women watching this, if you recognized yourself in any of these descriptions, if you felt that ache of "that's exactly what I've been trying to say," then let me tell you something important. You're not asking for too much. You never were. You're asking for the bare minimum of what a healthy, loving relationship should feel like. And anyone who makes you feel guilty for wanting these three things is telling you exactly who they are. Believe them. Now, I want you to do something for me. If this video made you feel understood, if it put words to something you've been carrying around but couldn't quite articulate, send it to one person who needs to hear this. Not by subscribing, not by hitting a bell, not by doing anything performative. Just send the link to someone, a friend, a partner, a sister, who has been struggling to explain what she needs. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't consuming content. It's sharing the right message with the right person at the right time. That one share could change a conversation, and that one conversation could change a relationship. And speaking of things that could change everything, you need to watch this next video right now. It's called If She Does This With Her Hands, She Already Chose You. Kiss her or you lose her. Because here's what most people don't realize. Women don't just communicate satisfaction with words. They communicate with their body, with their hands, with micro gestures that most men walk right past without ever noticing. And if you just learned what makes a woman satisfied, you absolutely need to learn how to recognize when she's already chosen you, because that window doesn't stay open forever. Miss it, and she'll assume you weren't interested. That video is on your screen right now. Click it before it disappears from your mind, because the information in it pairs perfectly with everything you just learned here. Go watch it. Seriously, right now.